Okay, in this presentation, what I'm going to do is I'm going to show you how you can use the specification or statements in the specification to identify aspects that can help to develop your design. And remember, when you're developing design, you're trying to improve it. So we have a higher design specification that consists of a number of statements on the left-hand side in red. On the right-hand side, we've got some aspects taken directly from the specification that we could explore in our design pages. So let's begin with the first aspect here, configurations for seating 3 adults. What I've done is I've produced a folio that consists of 3 pages. Remember, it is a higher folio, so I decided that 3 pages should be sufficient to illustrate the process in developing an idea. So the first thing is, now that we've used the specification, we've identified that we want to explore different bench configurations. So we've got the initial idea here of associated comments, and then we've got some ideas for different garden bench configurations at the top corner here. On the next flip chart, what I've done is I've increased the size of it so we can have a look at these ideas in more detail. So it says, I want to begin by exploring different configurations. This will make the bench more interesting and appealing to the target market. Now remember that the primary function of the garden bench is to sit. It's for people to sit on it. So this is similar to like at Nat 5 where they're producing a shelving unit, and you would obviously explore how it would hold the items that it's meant to hold. This is the same with the garden bench. We want it to be able to hold 3 adults, and we want it to do that in sort of an interesting and appealing way that would appeal to the target market. So we've got some examples here. We've got this L-shaped example, and it says this idea would allow users to talk to each other more easily because it's not straight. You can obviously converse if you're sitting on this end and if you're sitting on that end. We've then got this idea where it says that this idea is too simple a design and will not stand out, so the Chancellor will discount that idea. We've got another idea here where we have 4 supporting pillars, and if you've got 4 supporting pillars, then you've got more parts to make, so that might have effect on how long it takes to manufacture and how much more money it's going to need in order to make it. We've got 2 other ideas here which are similar to the L-shaped idea, but we've changed the shape of the supporting pillars, triangular ones here, 2 square ones and a triangular one on this end. So if we go back to the original page, having explored different configurations in the actual design, the one that was taken forward is this one here. It consists of 2 square ends and a triangular end at the corner, and that's now been resketched in perspective, and comments have been added explaining the choice and the changes that have been made. So it says this is the configuration I'm going to take forward. The contrast between supporting pillars should appeal to the target market. Yeah, it's also useful to add questions. This is actually a question here saying need to develop the top and supporting pillars. This idea uses different geometric forms, which is stipulated in the specification. So remember also when you're doing this that you have to remember to add comments that refer back to the specification to show that you are addressing the given design brief. At the corner here, you'll remember in class that I showed you an example of this page where sketch models were made from card, and these models were produced to look at different tops and in relation to how they sit on the supporting sections. And from that, these models, the top that was chosen consisted of sort of like a stripped pattern section. You can see here in page 2, this is the one that was taken forward from investigating using sketch models, or from the investigation that used sketch models. So on page 2, we're now going to look at another aspect, and if I go back to the specification, you can see that we've looked at configurations for seating 3 adults. I'm now going to look at parts of the bench, and the part that I'm going to look at in particular is the 2 end sections, the sort of rectangular end sections, and explore alternative ideas for this part of the bench. So again, we can't really see the comments that clearly in this flip chart, so I'll go to the next flip chart, and you can now see the sketches are much bigger, and we can actually have a look at the ideas that were produced in a bit more detail. So we've got an idea here where we've got a box which has been attached to the side of the supporting section, and that box could be used for maybe putting a planted pot onto it, taking into account that one of the statements in specification says that it should fit into the environment. It's a garden, so these ideas occurred to me. It would maybe be good to actually have some plants that could be added to the design. You'll notice that this sketch here is a sectional view. Remember that you do get assessed in relation to graphics, or use of graphics, and in relation to modelling, although I've not got a lot of modelling in here, and I would if I was doing it properly. I definitely have a whole range of different types of sketches, from perspective sketches, and in this case a sectional view to illustrate the internal structure of this joint, okay, where this box joins that box. Another idea that I've got here is to use rotational moulding to create what appears to be like a vase, and that vase would then act as the support for the top of the bench, and you could put soil into the vase and grow plants in the vase. Remember that at higher level it's commercial manufacturing processes that you need to use, so always look for opportunities to use a particular manufacturing process, and this is ideally suitable here to use rotational moulding, because rotational moulding produces large hollow plastic components. So this could be made from polypropylene, and it could be coloured as well. Remember, plastic can be coloured, so it could be green. So you're addressing not only the fact that it needs to fit in with the environment, you're also demonstrating your knowledge of manufacturing. The idea below here is similar to the idea at the top, but in this case the box end has been increased in height, and the table is inserted into the box, and we've got a ledge here to support the top. And similar to the top here, where you've got a square section for the plant, we can set a potted plant in there to add to the design. The final idea that I came up with is the one that I actually ended up taking forward. And again, I was trying to think, well, what commercial manufacturing process could I use to demonstrate knowledge of commercial manufacturing? And I decided to use aluminium, press formed aluminium. So you can see the sheet of aluminium which has been press formed and screwed onto boards to create this end. The effect that would create is that aluminium is very reflective, and it would reflect the surrounding environment on the end of the bench, which would improve the aesthetics of the bench. And I could obviously add, I mean, I've added some comments here, I could add more comments to this idea, just explaining that clearly and what the objective was there. So if we go back to the original idea, this is the one that I've taken forward, and I'm going to use that for the end of the bench. So we've now, in terms of specification, looked at the first two here. The next one that I do is I'm actually going to look at another part of the bench, which is the top of the bench, but I'm also going to look at sizes, just to illustrate the fact that at some point during the course we need to deal with ergonomics. Every product is going to be used by a human being, so we need to think about sizes. So in the third page, what we have is I've got an orthographic view and I've added sizes that have been taken from relevant anthropometric data. Now, don't worry about ergonomics, because we will deal with ergonomics at some point during the course, and you'll be able to include that in your design work. On this page, I've also got examples of two different tops. This is the top here that's made from strips of wood joined together using a mortise and tenon joint. And then I've got another example here that consists of an aluminium grating or grid or mesh that's joined to the hardwood boards to create this part of the top. I felt that that would be quite a nice choice of material because it would harmonise with the aluminium on the end of the bench, and I believe I do mention that here in this comment. At the bottom corner here, there's some sketches and notes explaining how the two halves of the top are joined together using biscuit joints. So there's 3 pages clearly showing how you would use the specification to develop your idea, and also showing how you would go about developing your idea by looking at particular aspects and exploring alternatives or making changes to these parts of your design in an attempt to improve it and develop it and make it better. Okay, so thank you for watching this video. I hope it's of help to you when you produce your own design work in the classroom and also when you do your design assignment. Thank you for listening.